your home for Kings talk and so much more.
Live and local.
Allen Stiles on Sactown Sports.
Roundtable. Brenden Nunes. Chris Watkins. Oh, wait, neither of you said anything.
What are you talking about? Hi.
Hello?
No,
Said something.
not that.
Oh.
The smell.
Oh, I noticed it. I honestly kind of thought it was my deodorant, to be honest, but
Well, it's not.
it is Wizard.
I have a horrible
the
sense
magic
of smell.
fresh.
Now I kind of
Okay, well,
see what you're
that's
talking about.
good.
Yeah.
Dave got sprayed by a skunk this morning.
Oh, he got sprayed by a skunk.
Him and his dog,
Okay,
I guess.
that's what I heard, yeah.
And then, this
He
place.
came into work.
Oh.
Yeah, it reeks.
Oh.
So since you guys didn't say
Dave
anything,
That's
doesn't
what
come to
Frankie's
work.
text
Yeah, I
was.
know. I was super confused by that too. So Dave comes to work maybe like 4 times a month, and the one time he decided, like I shouldn't work remote today,
right.
is the day he got sprayed by a skunk.
Because it's about Dave and he gets to
Right.
tell a story.
Right,
That's why. That's what it is.
Poor Jason also,
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
way, just sat here with the stank all day.
Apparently his son also got sprayed and they sent him home from school.
Okay, what
So
did they?
Now I really smell it.
Was
too.
this a family out? What were they walking
I think they were just
the
walking
dog?
the dog in the morning. Just a guy's
Just a
son and his
kid.
dog.
just like 5 minutes before he had to leave to work?
Yeah.
You know, no
Right.
time, didn't
At
change the
5:15 a.m.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I've
Apparently
never
3:30.
gotten sprayed by a
3:30.
skunk. Yeah, I've never gotten sprayed by a skunk, but I'm wondering, you shower and it doesn't work, or did Dave not
No.
shower?
You're supposed to take a bath in tomatoes,
that's-
tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce, but like you can put like like if your dog gets sprayed, my dog's got sprayed a couple times. You put like arm and hand, what's that stuff called? Help me out here.
Detergent?
Baking.
Yeah, like
type
baking
of-
soda.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
baking soda, and in that whole.
Okay, so Dave could
thing.
smell, unless he does the tomato thing, he could smell tomorrow as well. Is
It
this gonna-
lingers. I mean, because
this
it's
is
an
gonna go
oil.
away.
It's not really like a, it's
there was
like
a-
it gets into your skin.
There was a
and-
skunk running around Sutter Health Park in the back, and I saw that thing, and I'm like, dude, I don't get down. I do not. I'm not playing no games.
No, thank you. They are
Okay.
not fun. And they,
You got
they will
sprayed?
spray. No, but my parents have a very big backyard,
Yeah.
so they kind of get a ton of little critters, and so growing up, used to have a ton of my dogs used to get sprayed by skunks once or twice a year.
Brendan, you got sprayed?
No, I'm not. a
I
skunk
personally
guy.
never got sprayed.
Okay.
I had like family and dogs that have been.
Yeah.
for sure. Animals specifically.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's not. It's definitely not a great.
It's not good. They come back and you're just like, oh, you've been doing some things.
Yeah.
It does
Yeah.
not smell like skunk at all in here.
Okay, well, that's
it
a good
usually
thing.
lingers.
That's a good thing, and
It
hopefully,
smells a little bit.
okay.
Really, I didn't know.
Just a little. It might be this
I
side of the
haven't
table.
left. I have not left since we started the show. So
Can I give a plug also while we're
Sure.
completely off topic? Jason Ross and I have spent all week at Sac State. We just dropped the first episode of the Stingers Up podcast for the season.
Okay.
Jason interviewed, I think there's 15 coaches over there at Sac
Wow.
State. They are like, their staff is incredible. First episode just dropped on our YouTube channel. First year, Jason's doing video. So I helped him out with that. And first episode's about an hour. Second one should be about an hour as well, coming out next week. Next week, we'll have Coach Brendan Marion on as well. So definitely check that out. I know Sac State's obviously got a lot of hype around them right now. A lot of people interested in what's going on. And Jason does about as good as you can. I think we got 8 coaches in the defensive episode. You can go check that out over on the Sactown Sports YouTube channel.
You've been busy with that this week.
Very busy. Yeah. We spent 3 days there and we had to get 15 coaches. And those guys meet they have meetings about their meet. We had to get there a very specific time frame, even then sporadic. And we ended up locking them all down with the exception of Coach Marion. We're getting him tomorrow, but yeah, it's really, really awesome stuff. Good job by Jason.
Great stuff. Be sure to check that out. Okay, Sactown
There we go.
Sports.
That's all out the way now.
Sactown Sports YouTube, of course. The Sacramento State Hornets, they kick off the season with South Dakota State.
Tough one. Very,
Okay.
very tough one.
South Dakota State.
Yeah,
They get
they're one
down.
of the powers. Yeah,
They get down
Yeah,
out
North
there.
Dakota's obviously the Carson Wentz school.
Right. That's
South
right.
Dakota
And
has kind of become the power now.
North Dakota, that's the team where, hey, we're going to take a quarterback.
Trey Lance, right?
Yeah, we're going to take a quarterback from you every 5 years, and they will disappear. But we're going to continue to do it.
I've been playing college football recently, and this makes me think of I'm trying to lead Delaware to a national championship.
Okay.
And I just found out Joe Flacco
Yeah,
was
yeah.
on that team, and I can't beat this man's records.
Yeah, you
Oh,
know,
no,
you
It's
can't do
crazy.
it.
no way.
Crazy. Joe
No,
Flacco
no
on
way.
Delaware, though?
Yeah,
Did he go
they're-
somewhere else? He
Yeah,
got drafted from Delaware?
drafted
Yeah, first
from
round
Delaware.
pick.
Yeah, the
Wow.
Hens, right?
The Blue Hens.
The Blue Hens, yeah,
The Blue Hens.
Played them in college. Beautiful campus. People love
Really?
that campus.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But you up there? You somewhere?
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
in Delaware.
You are up there. You know what I mean?
You don't hear anything about Delaware.
Nah.
Like, you'll hear a stray Rhode Island story
No.
here and there. I've
Yeah.
never met anyone from Delaware.
And I'm gonna
I've
just be
never-
honest. All of them, right?
All of them.
Yeah,
All
what
those
is-
people.
like because
of
that's
those
I
places.
think that's where Atlantic 10, so we'd go on up there. Connecticut, Rhode Island, Delaware,
Oh,
it's all the same to me.
They might as well just DMV it, where it's
Yeah.
just like, this is just the
Yeah,
area,
New
right?
Hampshire, you all up there, man. That's what it is. But shout out the Blue
Shout
Hens
out.
and shout out Sac State doing their thing. Well, speaking of skunks, we hope that the stench of the play-in is off of the Sacramento Kings.
Senior segue strikes
Yeah, I was
again.
not paying
Oh,
attention.
man.
That was a good one. That was a 3.5.
Senior segue
I was paying
strikes
attention.
again.
It's not that good.
That was a
Oof.
3.5.
That was a 2.
Mhm.
That was a good one.
And guys,
Fuck
let's
Orlando.
start here as we get back on track. We have texts coming in. They want to hear from both of you.
Sure.
But I wanted to start with this. How do you think earlier this week we were discussing, wait, hold on a second. How much playing time is Malik Monk going to get? And I was trying to figure out, former 6-man runner-up should have been 6-man of the year. Is this guy going to even get to 25 minutes a night? Let's say they do go into the season as is. And I'm talking about Keon Ellis as well. All these two guards. How do you see the two guard situation, Chris? How do you see the two guard situation playing out for the Kings if there are no moves made?
It's not really something I've thought about, to be honest. So I'm kind of doing the exercise in real time, but I think it's kind of a hodgepodge, right? Like, I think they don't really have a true point guard. Like,
Right.
Dennis Schroeder's obviously there. You can throw Devin Carter into that mix, but I think there's worlds where on different teams, Zach LaVine's a 2. I think DeMar DeRozan at points in his career have been a 2. Malik is, as we've kind of found out, more of a 2 guard than a point guard. Again, Devin, more of a 2 guard than a point guard. Keon, it just feels like anybody can kind of play there. And so to me, it's just a little bit tough to try and, especially now, figure out how those minutes are going to be distributed. But I think the greater point is that there's so many options that you're probably going to be surprised whether it's Keon or whether it's Malik. Somebody's going to be the odd man out in their missing minutes. And, I guess with Doug's defensive mindset and the fact that those other guys, LaVine and DeRozan, feel like have to play, it's not crazy to assume that Keon might get the nod in most lineups just to kind of be that glue guy, where Malik is a little bit of his own universe when he's on the floor.
I still think Malik's playmaking is really valuable for this team. They don't have a backup point guard still. I think the best option is probably Malik Monk. And I think that's why he makes sense in your second unit. Obviously, he gets to be a little bit more score first, just because he's the point guard out there, the one that may be bringing the ball up the floor. I still think you can have other initiators, obviously Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis out there helping him run that second unit. But I still think Malik is getting close to maybe even over. Last year, he was at 31.5 minutes a night. I think that we're probably around 28 to 30. Right, where I still think that he is functioning as that backup guard, a backup initiator on the perimeter for sure. I think that he fits. He's probably still in night to night case, I guess, for closing lineups, whether you need offense, defense, going Malik or Keon. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that much different than what we saw last year. The 24.5 for Keon sounds about the right range to me, specifically beginning of the year. When it comes to Malik, I think you'll see close to that 30 mark. And then maybe a guy like if Devin Carter breaks in a little bit, then maybe that takes away from, obviously the minutes got to come from somewhere. Maybe that starts to take away from Malik Monk. If they shop him again at the deadline, maybe that lowers as they near that point. If Devin or if Nick Clifford emerge as a guy that can play that role a little bit more, then maybe those eat into Malik's minutes to start the year, or towards the year as the year goes on. But I think to start the year, you're probably going to see, I would guess, similar total minutes for Malik and Keon as to what we saw last year.
So basically, the way you're putting it, Brendan, is, we're just seeing, hey, well, they added Nick Clifford and Devin Carter's healthy, but it's not going to be everyone gets a touch. It's going to be Malik is going to, and Doug Christie, obviously being the coach, he's used to having Malik out there. It's Keon, it's Malik. Those are our first two guards off the bench. If something changes and if Nick Clifford forces his way into the lineup, then cool. But right now, I guess the one name that we completely ignored, and it's because I said two guard, is Dennis Schroeder.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's really only one. If Malik, I think the difference is we've spent so much time talking about how Malik isn't a point guard. They get Dennis Schroeder. Now they still need Russell Westbrook. Malik was coming in for De'Aaron. Is Malik going? If Malik is not subbing in for Dennis Schroeder, that's where we were kind of wondering where this thing gets squeezed.
Yeah, and So real quick, I just am not sure that. I feel like with Scott Perry, obviously Doug's the holdover, but I feel like we've seen obviously over this offseason. I don't know if Malik is necessarily the one that, and I think front office influence does kind of matter, and especially in stuff like that. Like I don't know if Malik is in the future plans for the Kings like that. And I wonder if, again, Doug is the more defensive minded guy. If maybe it was just like you said, they needed a point guard. Malik was someone who could fill that role. I just don't know if that's necessarily going to be an automatic nod to him this year. Like, I just feel like maybe there has been a shift in mentality. Maybe like Brendan said, it might be a beginning of the year, middle of the year kind of transition, but I don't know if I see Malik getting 30 minutes. To me feels like out of necessity. Like I know you said 28, but like I just feel like his role, I just feel like I see it diminishing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Neek is like already in the rotation, and maybe Neek isn't somebody that's competing with Malik. It feels a little bit tough to identify some of these positions because sometimes Malik is almost functioning as like the 2-3 in the lineup, and it feels like Neek could do that a little bit as well, even though they don't sound like they'd necessarily be competing for minutes there. But to the Dennis essentially replacing De'Aaron point, I just highlight that De'Aaron played 37 minutes last year. And Dennis is not doing that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like you don't have as many just total minutes being taken up from that starting position, then you're going to rely on the starters a little bit more or the bench a little bit more, obviously.
And that's why it all goes back to, this thing. I think it's kind of swayed too far as you talking to people beginning of the beginning of the offseason, you think Malik can't dribble a basketball. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
he's so in between though.
Too. People,
and
act like Devin Carter dribbles off his feet.
I might be one of those people, to be fair, on Devin Carter, but
Malik feels super in between positions.
But I'm just confirming that there will be lineups. I think that's what we were discussing. The fact that they're going after Russell Westbrook. Right. How comfortable do they feel with Malik Monk and Keon Ellis being your two guards? That's what I don't know.
Like sharing the floor at the same time, or that being your depth that you have at that position? Yeah,
I'm just saying, again, if they're saying they need to go get Russell Westbrook, okay, do you not feel like you have who is their backup point guard?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which right now it's probably Malik, like you said, out of necessity. Mm-hmm. And the interest in Russ probably does speak to, and how much they were like, we need a point guard this offseason. Malik himself said that he feels most comfortable at the two.
But I will say, him saying it, he probably heard and this is all me just having some fun. He probably heard what was said and thought, okay, I mean, like, I know I said I'm not a point guard, but y'all doing a little too much.
Yeah. I mean, are we also sure that Devin Carter's not the backup point guard?
No, he could be.
I just don't, like, if he's going to be on the team, like, is he just going to sit on the bench?
You think Devin Carter's better point guard than Malik?
I did not say better. I just said it might be the backup point. Like,
I think they both could be out there. And it's just like a committee thing.
100, and like that's really important too. Is that we talk about this stuff sometimes like it's like a football depth chart. Like it has to be this guy comes out.
The point guard doesn't mean you're a Kyrie out there ISOing people. You know?
Yeah, I more just mean like you play with like there will be a lineup with starters and one bench player.
Right.
It's 3 starters, 2 bench. It's not hockey subs. Exactly. Like. It can be very, very fluid. Malik can be the backup point guard. Devin Carter can play 12 minutes a game, and all of those minutes are a backup. I'm more just saying.
But that's where I'm at.
That's where I think I was more on your side, where I think it is going to be just, again, so many people are going to either someone's going to be the odd man out and completely getting no minutes, or there is, to your point, going to be a very strange, I guess, distribution of minutes because again, Keon's gonna play, Malik is gonna play. Devin Carter either isn't going to play at all or is going to eat into their 2 minutes because Zach LaVine is going to be on the floor for 30 plus minutes. DeRozan's going to be on the floor for close to 30 minutes, I would assume. Keegan 30 plus minutes, Sabonis 30 plus minutes. Like it's
not out there.
It might not be. Or
Schroeder,
it
what do we
might
think?
not be.
What was Schroeder at?
I didn't even throw Schroeder in there. Right. I think Schroeder's going to be probably 28 to 32 minutes. Right.
I'm checking my
and
wallets.
probably closer to the higher end.
I'm looking for some. I don't got no minutes for you.
Well, so what? There's 7 guys that I feel like we probably feel comfortable saying are going to play every single night, right?
Yes, I would say so. Yeah,
the starters plus
Keon,
Malik,
and some backup center.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
and like that. Yeah,
doesn't matter who. Just
they're
going to
play more than 7 every night. Like Neat Clifford will probably break into that.
He's probably going to start.
And then Drew Eubanks is probably going to play 12 minutes a night.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But then between all that, you don't really have forward depth.
Isaac
Dario,
Jones,
right? Yeah, maybe you're going Isaac, you're going Dario. You might be Doug McDermott. I don't even.
Not Max
probably not where we're going.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think that maybe like Devin Carter might play like the 3 sometimes, or you might.
Zach LaVine, right? Would play the 3.
DeMar might play the 4.
Right.
We've talked about DeMar being like the backup 4 almost in a way if you sub him out early.
Oh, that's a really bad idea.
I mean, I just you don't have many options. Yeah. And so I think that some of the answer here is that you're going to have some small lineups and all these guys are going to be playing together.
Yeah, and that to me is when we're talking about Russell Westbrook this and Russell Westbrook that. That to me is just kind of speaks to why are we talking about Russell Westbrook? It just feels like you have bigger issues to handle.
Yeah, we probably should be talking about it back. I don't know about Precious Achua or what was it, Chris Boucher?
Either one.
Yeah,
either one. Yeah. You don't think Precious can play? He's what is he? What did we say?
He might be able to. I loved Precious coming out of college, to be honest.
25.
He's older than that.
I don't love him as like your permanent backup, but he's a good like third center.
This guy, Basketball Reference, Precious Achua.
He's
right
25.
Now. I don't know. He feels very like Bruno.
He turns 26 next month.
Feels very Bruno Caboclo to me.
We're talking about Drew Eubanks.
Yeah, I would probably rather have Precious Achua, or I mean, it's one for like it's. I like Precious Achua more than Drew Eubanks, but like both of those guys realistically should be your third center.
Yeah. Well, you're a Dylan Cardwell guy.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, Precious is just
not already.
Precious is just the best case scenario for Cardwell's career.
That's fair. I mean, yeah.
By the way, I got to be honest. We were talking earlier about if Westbrook were to join, and we were having some fun with the zeros and
number zeros.
Yes, the number zeros, what jerseys they would wear. And Kyle said something. Sometimes, peel the curtain back. Sometimes I'm working on something. I'm looking up something as Kyle's talking. Kyle, they're on us because you mentioned the number 4. And
yikes,
obviously, because Westbrook wore 4 before, but obviously that number.
Yeah, I'm not saying Westbrook is going to wear 4. I'm saying he's worn 4.
A different number.
Yes,
before,
he has worn
just
number
4.
To
make it clear, we're the flagship. Somebody like, what are you guys talking about? We just got to make it clear.
Because couldn't remember if anyone was wearing 4 for the Kings.
That's right. And I said not right now, and I had my computer open. But look, for the listeners out there, we know it ain't gonna be 4.
Right.
It might be 000, but it ain't gonna. We're gonna have all the zeros and all the 2 guards you could ever imagine.
Monk 0, Kuminga 00, Westbrook 000.
There you go.
Wow.
Can you guys possibly name the last 4 players to wear number 0? You could probably do 3
for the Kings.
For the Kings, like straight 0, not double
just
0. Thomas Robinson.
No. Well, yeah, that's further than the last 4. There's a current one. There's a current one. He
Malik,
just said it.
Yeah,
Malik.
Yeah, sure.
The Corey Joseph.
One prior was only here for 1 year.
And
then he went to
one obvious one. Tyrese.
Tyrese is the one prior, but there's one in between Tyrese and Malik.
Went to the Warriors.
This was my guy, Chris.
White Dante.
Dante.
Oh, Dante.
Dante.
Yeah.
White Dante.
And then Trevor Ariza for 1 year prior to that.
Yes, that was a good year. Yeah.
From Trevor 2020, they've had 4 different guys wear number 0.
People excited Trevor Ariza did.
He did.
Yeah. Vet leadership.
Vet leadership. Elite free agent class.
And we know Neat Clifford's got 5.
Dwayne Dedman was my guy.
Dwayne Dedman. Yeah.
Nick Clifford will be the best Kings player to wear.
Stop it.
What number does he have?
Shut up,
He has 5.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, Brandon's gonna want
That took me a
Guys,
sec. That took me a sec.
Kings fan Dan on the chat says,
The Malachi Richardson
why
disrespect.
are you
23.
guys hating on Maxime Reynaud?
We
And
didn't.
I'm gonna kick this off
When did we
here
once?
because it's been tough, a bit of tough sledding. And I made the joke about Dylan Cardwell because there are certain Kings fans that, and they have no choice, right? This is where we're at, but they kind of hyper fixate on the Isaiah Crawfords. He's going to save us.
Brother. Come on.
Isaac Jones is going
Yeah.
to save us. Somebody is going to save us.
Should've been
Keon
here for the
Ellis.
Scalabizzier,
Keon Ellis,
brother.
Scal.
Scalabizzier was
Shout out
the one,
Scal. He got
honestly.
signed. What did the
Harry
Wizards?
Giles, Wizards.
Yeah. So look, the numbers are the numbers.
God, the
My-
Wizards are down bad.
Yeah.
They
The
are.
numbers are the
Shut up.
numbers, my
Kobe's not
friends.
there anymore.
I hope that it does work out, but we already have found money with Keon Ellis. Okay. We can't.
You're on this.
we,
Yeah.
we just can't keep assuming that all these guys are going to be hits. We're talking about Keon Ellis. That was a hit. We're talking about a late first round pick in Nick Clifford. So he's going to hit. Maxime Reynaud is going to hit in the second round, which I hope he does.
Isaac
We're talking
Jones
about-
kind of hit.
We're talking about Isaac Jones, who he hit because the Kings are a 35
hit.
win. It's a
Come
hit.
on.
He was
now.
working in a factory
Okay,
4
come on
years
now.
ago.
Come on now,
That's a
D1.
life hit. That's a life hit. This isn't a team hit. We're talking about Dylan Cardwell. Oh, defensively, we got to be more
Yeah.
realistic here.
Hey, man.
And I think what you guys are doing, you're just protecting us from our, and me specifically, because I'm the Maxime Reynaud guy, from having too high of expectations. He is a second round guy. I know he was slated to go in the first, but he's a second round guy.
What did we say that was bad to Matt? I think all that we said was he wasn't in rotation
Yeah,
day
he wasn't
one.
going to be in a
That's all we
rotation.
said.
Oh, when I
don't
said
think
who's
that's-
going to be the 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
And
crazy
you
to
said-
take
you
as
said
an
not
insult.
Maxime.
I
You said
love
not
Max.
Maxime.
It's not going to be Max.
That's
I can
not an
already
insult.
tell, though. I have like a G League guy that I, for some reason, like fall for every year. I can already tell that it's going to be Max. You know, it could be Daquan
Wow,
Cloud. I'm not
that's
going to lie.
disrespect.
What do
He's
you
calling him a
mean
G
G League guy?
leaguer
Yeah,
now.
Well,
that's
okay,
disrespect.
let's be real.
ladies and
This guy's
gentlemen.
going to
That's
spend
crazy.
time in Stockton, right?
Yes,
Talk to
he
his
is.
coach when we were in Vegas,
And it's
and
gonna be
he
light
said
work.
he's more Laurie Markkinen than Luke Cornett.
Yeah, it
Laurie
was a great
Markkinen was
interview.
a lottery pick,
Yes.
and he was really bad early in his career.
Cleveland
Really
gave
bad.
him away in the
Correct.
Davion Mitchell trade.
Yes.
Yeah, he was not good early in his career. And Max is a guy that it's kind of a long shot for him to be anything like Laurie Markkinen, to be honest. So
But
if
he could
we're
be
going,
better than Dario.
hey, year one, I don't know. To
Dario
be honest,
and Dario hasn't played since the Stanford was in the
and
Pac-12.
Max has never played. I'm just saying,
Hey,
like Max,
man.
I think Max will get a chance at some point in the year
Yeah.
because Drew Eubanks is the backup center. I think Drew Eubanks is probably better than Precious Achua for this team because you know what you're getting consistently at very least. You only need him to fill the 12 minutes, right? There's going to be some nights where he doesn't cut it or some nights where you're getting your butt kicked or vice versa, and you're going to throw Max out there for a little bit. And if he impresses, then he'll stay there. But this is also a big man that was the leading scorer in college.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the leading scorer on any of these teams.
Not to
And he's
start.
got to become a good defender. There's just a long process
He
for him
he had to
becoming
foul.
good.
They didn't want him in foul trouble.
They didn't want him in foul trouble.
So he
he
couldn't
wasn't
block. So he's
allowed
gonna
to
have
play
to play in the
defense.
He wasn't allowed to block.
So he's going to have to, be allowed to play defense for a little bit.
When we return, let's keep the conversation going. Chris is going to go in the way back mobile. If the Kings had one transaction redo from the last 10 years, what would you want them to do? We also have some updates. How are the guys feeling about, I'll say it, Jonathan Kuminga? Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports. Taking you up to 2 p.m. Roundtable is in the building. Chris Watkins, Brenden Nunes, still no Frankie Cardicelli. And he is he's avoiding us.
That's what we
At
do.
this point, he is avoiding us. UPS Chris said he was about to say Greg Ostertag, but that was 00.
Double.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with 0. All right, guys. A couple texts we want to read through here. This is from the 925. Shout out the 925. Hi, Alan. Is there any possibility of bringing DeMar off the bench to get buckets with Monk and start someone like Lyles, Reynaud, Kuminga at the 4? If DeRozan comes off the bench, it solves a lot of the rotation problems until he can be traded. He might not be happy about it, but it's the coach's decision, and he'd probably add a 6th man of the year to his resume. Now, that last note is interesting about 6th man of the year. But a lot of those things, 925, I think would fix itself, because I don't see a world where the Kings get Jonathan Kuminga and keep DeMar. There's also the conversation, as we just talked about, Maxime Reynaud to start the season. There's also the conversation as to how much they want to move off DeMar, the whole until he gets traded thing. I still think they do, but we talked about this last week, that they didn't seem to be as motivated as people like me initially thought. So with all that being said, and I was in the camp of, hey, if you sit DeMar, it would essentially be a tryout. And, there might be certain teams out there that are questioning whether DeMar would want to. The Carmelo Anthony thing. Hey, P, they say I got to come off the bench. The idea of what it looks like for him to come off the bench. It's kind of a free sample for teams. The longer this summer has gone on, though, I just think they really like DeMar, and it ain't happening, 925. It is not happening. That's just how I feel.
DeMar's played almost 1,200 games in his career. He hasn't started in 12 of them.
You said how many games? 1,200?
He's played 1,187 games, and he has started in 1,175 of them. The last 12 all came at the same time. They were the final stretch of his rookie season. Jay Triano, head coach, by the way. But I think that we're also at the point in his career where, everybody has to do it at some point, I feel like, unless there's some guys that don't, I guess, but he's 36. I think that our guy Matt George has put out that if there were to be a Kuminga deal, that the idea is that DeMar could be moved to the bench in that scenario, which I think means that they're already playing with that idea. And I think it certainly makes sense, like that backup four thing that I've talked about a little bit. It's not the most ideal thing, but I think that's sort of what the roster construction currently may call for. I don't know that I'm expecting that to be the case, but I think that it's a worthy conversation to be had, because if you wanted to insert somebody like a Keon Ellis, right? You've heard coaches talk about and seen teams do where that fifth starter isn't necessarily your fifth best player. It's just the guy that is better complementary to the other four starters. And so I think it could make a lot of sense to bring DeMar off the bench. I think that he seems to be a guy that I think that you could at least have a conversation with him without him feeling too disrespected, I would imagine. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we'll probably have conversations about throughout the course of the year. We already were having that last year a little bit, but it never felt like something that was considered last year. And maybe there being a new regime will change that. Because again, 36, I think that we're at the point where it's probably getting close to that making sense for it to be the way to go. Like if DeMar were to be traded at the deadline, right, to say it's some contender that makes sense to him, they might think that, hey, we just really need some help bench scoring. Like maybe whatever team is trading for him, he's going to be a bench option at this point too.
Yeah, well, that was the initial thought process. It's they know what DeMar looks like off the bench, and it's not the first time, hey, DeMar, come over to the Cavs, and you're going to come off the bench for the first time. And that's what I initially thought. I just think they really like DeMar. And my thought process has always been, Chris, if DeMar is going to come off the bench for a team, it will be a team that at the very least is projected to have more than 35 wins.
I'll say it for you. How about this? If he's going to come off the bench, it's not going to be for the Sacramento Kings, because that's really at the end of the day, that's what it is. And that's how I think Brendan hit the nail on the head. Like if Kuminga comes to Sacramento, I think it happens, honestly. I think that there is just it makes too much sense. Like obviously Kuminga and Keegan playing next to each other, starting next to each other, I think makes sense. There has to be some form of, I won't say agreement, but like it feels like if Kuminga comes to the Kings, there is some sort of under the table handshake agreement that like he would probably get some run. And I think the Kings really, really like Kuminga. Like I think Doug Christie would love the idea of molding Jonathan Kuminga. I think Scott Perry would say this guy would be the youngest player on our team.
Yes,
like
by a couple years.
It's as simple as that. Like this guy already has years of NBA experience. People think they already know what he is. He would be the youngest player on this team, and with all of that included. And so I think it's just a very, very valuable piece. And I think if he does end up ending it in Sacramento, I think DeRozan moving to the bench just makes a ton of sense. But with all of that said, doesn't look like Jonathan Kuminga at this exact moment is coming to Sacramento. There's no way, there's no conversation to be had. Like it's almost the Harrison Barnes, or we've had different guys in the past where they probably should be coming off the bench, but the problem is for who? Like
Yeah.
who is the person in which you're going to replace them with? And I think right now it's, I mean, yeah, they
The
mentioned
answer's
what
Keon.
Trey Lyle. Yeah. Keon, I guess, but then it's a smaller, there's other problems that arise with it. It's not a natural fit, but yeah, I mean that it's just, it doesn't really make sense right now.
It's
but
Manu
it
coming
can.
off the bench for like Bruce Bowen on a way different level.
Dang.
You know,
That made me think of Mike Brown.
That's
Yeah. Did you
Mike
know
Brown
Manu
always
Ginobili came off
mentioned
the
that,
bench?
yeah.
Did you actually know that?
And Maxime Reynaud is also 22, but as far as their current rotation is concerned, Kuminga would be younger by a couple years. When it comes to DeMar DeRozan and coming off the bench and what he wants the end of his career to look like, though, I do think it would, me personally, I don't think he's coming off the bench because it is the best thing, obviously, for him, unless we're doing the free sample, a free preview thing. I think it's a means to an end.
or the sixth man of the year thing, I guess.
Like if they trade for Kuminga right before Baby Styles, or right after Baby Styles gets here, we're about to do media day, and it happens because that's around the timeline. I think DeMar is coming off the bench, but I also think DeMar is not finishing the season on this team,
Correct.
which I'm not sure that he's finishing the season on this team anyway. But I definitely think if he's coming off the bench, he is not he is not playing a full season on the bench. It would be okay.
Unless
you
the
guys
Kings are over expectations.
I guess,
right? I mean,
if they're cooking.
Yeah, if they're a playoff team and he's coming off the bench, I would think he would be. I would think he would be okay with it.
Because
But
he's still playing almost 30 minutes.
And his contract's up after this season as well.
He has
correct?
one more, but it's partial
non-guaranteed.
guaranteed.
Okay.
It's not guaranteed until sometime in January.
It's like 4 million of the 5 or 25 something is guaranteed.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, you're right. If they're balling,
Right.
then DeMar.
And that's what is 500. What is 540 game? That's better than what we went through the schedule last Thursday.
Yeah,
We did not think that they would be anywhere. Is that considered in the clear? I think that's a big question too.
10 million guaranteed next year, by the way.
yes, I was going to
10 of the 25. Yeah, thank you.
Which you can also buy out.
It's just a non-guarantee, or it's partial guarantee. So if they pick it up by a deadline,
So it's a team option.
Yeah, it's like
essentially like an
yeah,
option. Yeah.
mid-January.
Or it's the team's
whatever it is.
decision. Whose decision is it to?
Yeah, it's the team's decision
that
if they're
full
going to guarantee it or not.
contract.
By
Yeah,
January.
it's like if he's on the roster,
January
if he's
10th.
on any roster, that
Gotcha.
team has
Yeah.
to pay it.
Yeah.
So he could just get bought out of the contract.
Okay,
Yeah,
instead.
exactly.
Yeah, which right now, and this person threw out a bunch of different scenarios, but as it stands right now, he's not coming off of nobody's bench, and I don't think he should. I don't really think he should. I mean,
You don't think he should?
right now, for who?
Yeah. I mean, I think the team probably makes more sense with Keon starting than DeMar.
I think DeMar coming off the bench is a very valuable asset. I think especially with how he draws fouls,
So,
if you can
A
bring
little
him in-
repetitive with Malik, but
So
I'm not
Keon-
talking, this
so
team
just in
specifically,
general.
really.
So
Yeah.
Keon, Levine, Keegan,
Dennis
Schroeder, and
Schroeder, Keon Ellis, Zach LaVine, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis.
I guess the argument is whether he would versus should. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
I hear you. It makes more sense. We know the problem is the three amigos. The problem is Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, who's
I was
not
gonna say,
starting.
Malik and DeMar both being that super scorer sixth man.
Yeah,
That's why I hadn't really thought about DeMar coming off the bench because Malik's not starting.
because if DeMar's coming off the bench, he's pulling that thing the second
Oh,
he
yeah.
steps on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And the
But
second
honestly,
until
as he
steps up.
should.
100%,
You know what I mean?
But that
It-
just doesn't leave runway for
Yeah.
a Malik Monk, who
Right.
is probably going to do the same.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the other side of it is, though, just like the starting lineup, if you have Dennis Schroeder, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis out there, you have 3 non-shooters.
I hear you.
And that's probably what
boring
they're going to
starting
do.
lineup.
And cue somebody saying, well, you
Incredibly
know,
Domas shot 40%.
Yeah, right.
for his free throw threes.
Hey, when he lines up the laces, it's bottoms.
when he's got that time. All
And
right.
maybe there's another jump there.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, look, like I keep saying, you can unlock this offense just like Jonas Valanciunas could have unlocked the offense. Now somebody's going to unlock this offense with some corner threes.
The way this goes to, it might be Isaac Jones. The way this goes to another level
guess
is one of these players that like people think are completed projects that are
Yes.
just the best that they can be, somehow taking another step.
Mhm.
If Domas somehow takes another step and like more volume on that 3-point shooting, if Zach LaVine just tones it down a little bit, if Malik becomes that point guard, Like, I think that's the super
Yeah,
optimism.
and they are all closer to 30 than 20, and that doesn't typically happen.
Hey, Steph did it when?
Not-
27. Steph became who he was.
Look,
Steph was getting MVP votes at 24. Let's not pretend
well,
like
you know, but he was at Davidson for a while. 916-339-1140.
Them ankles.
All right, TC will keep us on track. What's up, TC? What you got for us?
Some of my bros, man. Hey, Nunes, Allen, my boy Chris. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Whole lot.
Hey, so look, just vibing. So at the end of the day, bro, it's about talk, right? So that's what hard coaching decisions as far as Doug. As a coach, a real coach, a bona fide coach, you have to make decisions like that. So the whole Hall of Fame status, nothing against DeMar, but the Hall of Fame status, that's like talk, bro. At the end of the day, you have to coach. So Doug will have to make the decision to be like, DeMar, you got to come off the bench. We trying to move off DeMar anyway, right? So what would it matter with him to be like, I don't want to come off the bench, trade me.
Yeah, that's a good point, TC. I think that from everything we've heard, they have a really good relationship with DeMar, which on the flip side of what TC is saying makes me feel like the conversation would work. I'm kind of torn between should you start the season off like that, or should you just see what this looks like with Dennis Schroeder and go from there? I mean, at least if you lose a couple games, you would have more of an excuse to do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you probably run the risk of losing DeMar. Mentally, emotionally, and it feels like that would be the problem.
Yeah, it's like tough to debate whether or not to have the conversation, because if he doesn't take that well, then this whole year could be approached differently by him. Keyword could, don't really know how DeMar would react to all this. He's always been professional, and it seems like he wouldn't be that guy, but you never really know. And then the other aspect, from his standpoint, is that, like we said, only $10 million of his contract's guaranteed next year, only, quote unquote. So there is this aspect of well, if I get moved to the bench, now I'm labeled as a bench player, and there is kind of a different salary that probably comes with that. So does he want to make that shift to where you're viewed way differently? I do kind of think it is a little that black and white in NBA salary negotiations. Hey, you're a starter still, or now if DeMar moves to the bench, he's never coming back in a starting lineup.
No,
which is probably the point in the career that is in his career that he's at. But I'm just saying, from his perspective, that may be a reason on why. Hey, can I get one more contract before I get moved to the bench?
I thought that was this contract.
It might be, and it probably should be.
Yeah. One more segment with you. We break down any other surprises that might pop up this season for the Sacramento Kings. Also, you have one redo over the last 10 years for your Sacramento Kings. What's Chris doing? Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports. Hey, one more segment with you. Chris Watkins, Brenden Nunes, helping us. And let's just start with you, Chris. Oh, actually, we had a quick question here. 916 says, all of my professional sports teams suck. Which of these, the Kings, Giants, or Raiders, will provide me some hope first?
Raiders.
Not
Well,
Giants?
I think chronologically, it would have to be the Raiders.
Yeah.
Because the Giants are about to be cooked.
Yeah. Raiders are
So-
going to suck this season still, but they're going to be way more fun. There's going to be way more hope.
Gino in a dome.
I'm more thinking
Rob Bowers,
Genty. I'm
Ashton
thinking Bowers.
Genty.
Yeah, I mean, Pete Carroll's running the show now.
Chip Kelly.
A lot of I saw that they're in on Trey Hendrickson. I don't know how true that is, but if they can pull that off, pretty sick D line.
best kind of bad team. Score 35, give up 40.
Yeah. So because the Giants have
I just don't
just
think the Giants.
finished, well, they're not done, but they're done. So you have the Kings and the Raiders.
Tell
And
me
if I'm arguing the Kings or the Raiders, I think I would just take the Raiders. I don't feel neither one there's no parade, but I'd take the Raiders.
Yeah, I guess that's probably the way. There's more. I find it more enjoyable to have those young talents to root for, and you can see the future of a team a little bit more, right? And I guess the Raiders have that in place a little bit more than the Kings, but maybe ask again in 2 years. I know it's not a fun answer.
2 years.
I'm just saying the Kings are going to look so different in 2 years.
JT is going to be retired in 2 years.
It's true. It's
What are you
true.
talking about?
2 years.
Pete Carroll's going to be 78 in 2
God,
years.
Yeah.
That's actually not a joke.
They're gonna
Point being, you got nothing. You got no hope for 2 years at least.
Raiders are gonna have Arch Manning by then.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
It's all good. All right, another question. If the Kings could have one transaction redo from the last 10 years, what would you want them to do? This has been going around Kings Twitter. Chris,
Really?
obviously, you are the eldest statesman here with
Thank
your
you.
fandom. So we're going to give you the most time.
Okay.
But here
I
are some of the
appreciate
options.
Okay.
Drafting Marvin Bagley over Luka,
Of course.
Forgot about that one.
the Tyrese Halliburton trade,
Oh yeah.
the De'Aaron Fox trade, the DeMarcus Cousins trade, the Mike Brown firing, the Dave Yeager firing, the Michael Malone firing.
Oh,
Can I do something? Can I just remove Luka?
why?
Is that better?
'Cause it's the
Well, 'cause
obvious,
that's the
obvious
obvious
number
one.
one.
Yeah,
obvious
okay.
pick.
Remove
Sure,
Luka.
That's
Has
fair.
anybody
That's
gonna-
fair.
I'm gonna pick that
No,
one.
we're all gonna
I
pick
was
Luka,
going to
right?
pick that
That's
one.
the thing that sucks about this game is like the Kings have the most obvious answer.
Yeah.
All right, remove Luka. So now you have,
Okay.
or if you think of any other ones, Chris, but
Okay.
Tyrese Halliburton trade, De'Aaron Fox trade,
Ooh.
the Marcus Cousins trade,
Wait.
Mike Brown firing, Dave Yeager firing, Michael Malone firing.
All right.
What are we between?
I would like to throw in Pascal Siakam non-move.
Okay.
The Kings not
After
pulling
Beam
the
team?
trigger. Yes.
How about the Beam team? Just nothingness.
Yeah. Beam team. Yeah.
Trading
Just-
for Chris Duarte.
Yeah, essentially the big swing. The other thing I want to throw in there is maybe the Kings trading the 10th pick the year they drafted De'Aaron for 15 and 20. They take Justin Jackson and Harry Giles. They could have stayed at 10 and taken Donovan Mitchell on top of drafting De'Aaron Fox, which could have obviously set you up for some
Wow.
success
Or Bam.
long term. Or Bam. Yeah, like I mean, there's a couple different options. You definitely could have
Wow.
gone. There's
Or
of
Malik.
course.
Harry Giles.
Hey man, I got
Hey,
a
don't
Harry Giles
disrespect.
jersey.
Don't disrespect.
You can
You
disrespect
be
Justin Jackson
careful
all
with
day.
that
Who's
one.
the nicest man who's
You be
ever stepped
careful
on
with
this
that
planet. But Harry Giles, that's your that's
Justin Jackson.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
nice
there
thing
you
about
go.
Justin Jackson, though, is they traded
champion.
him and Randolph for, I think, Barnes.
for Harrison
That's
Barnes.
right.
Yeah, one of the best trades maybe ever. Period. Full stop. I would say that's up there for sure. I have not gotten over the firing of Mike Malone. I think that was just franchise malpractice. Like that's insane.
Because
It made
team
no
at the time
sense.
was what?
It was DeMarcus. It was not the Rondo team yet.
Okay.
Rondo was the next
Darren
year.
Collison.
Yeah, Darren Collison,
Gotcha.
Rudy Gay, probably Quincy Acey,
Willie
like,
Cauley-Stein.
Ben McLemore. I don't think Willie was there yet. Like Thomas Robinson, probably. It was a really bad team.
Yeah.
It was a really, really bad team. And everyone knows the story, of course. Mike Malone unjustly fired. DeMarcus got sick for a week and they,
Yeah.
story goes on and on.
The hope with keeping him would be just creating a sense of stability.
Yeah, and I mean, it felt like you were actually rowing with the current for once, and you then hire George Karl, you then fire George Karl, and it just spirals from there. And it just you could have had a coach that ended up winning the NBA championship 7 years later or whatever it was.
Right.
Man, I don't know. It's tough to not go with the De'Aaron Donovan Mitchell one. That one might be my answer. I think I might go with it's a little bit of a surprise pick. Or you could just go with like them taking, Thomas Robin or whoever, Ben McLemore over Giannis or whoever it ended up being. There were so many drafts where they, skipped over Damian Lillard, skipped over Klay Thompson, skipped over Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Right. The list goes on. And other teams can do the same thing.
I would probably say my official answer will be trading 10 and not sticking at 10.
See, that's what
and
a
that's
Kings
that's
lifer-
hindsight. That's hindsight 2020.
That's a King's lifer.
Whitey
man.
would tell you that the Kings definitely should have drafted Giannis Antetokounmpo. They fired Jeff Petrie. And I guess Jeff Petrie was like obsessed with Giannis and gave the current or whoever it was at the time taking over, gave them all the info on Giannis, said this guy's going to be incredible, and the new regime just essentially didn't listen. So.
Ward is throwing in on the chat. Ward is throwing in. Let's not forget Divock saying, "I had a
Super
better
team
deal
just-
yesterday."
Yeah.
I think they could have had D'Angelo Russell for Boogie, I want to say, but that's not really as bad.
Yeah, I
as
think it was like Julius Randle, D'Lo. It was a Laker trade too, which
Right.
people conveniently leave out.
Yeah.
you would have had to make a deal with the Lakers. I don't. Yeah,
Look, just from these that are the options, I know, Brendan, you said that when this thing went a bit viral, people were talking about Tyrese Halliburton and you disagreed.
It's just crazy over the Luka thing.
Over the Luka.
I'm just
thing.
saying, like, Luka is the clear answer, and I'm just
Yes.
saying anyone that was picking Tyrese, it's crazy to me. Like,
Yeah.
It's just not trading Tyrese in general is what people want.
It's just
Like you should have
I
traded
take it as
Fox
just they should have
instead?
kept Tyrese.
Okay.
Find a
Like,
way to keep
yeah.
Tyrese.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, man. I mean the De'Aaron thing, because that's what's the problem. Like the De'Aaron trade to me,
Didn't even mention the De'Aaron trade.
I wouldn't
right?
even I wouldn't even say it because I would just connect it to the Beam team nothingness, deciding
Yeah.
to just re-sign Harrison Barnes and bring in Sasha Vezenkov.
Yeah.
Which also connects to the Mike Brown thing. Like, if I
Right.
say Mike Brown is my
Right.
answer, does that mean I'm
Yeah.
also counting the De'Aaron trade?
You're saying Sasha. You're saying you hate
Yeah,
Emmy and Sasha Vezenkov.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
yeah, that I'm a big KZ. It was really when they moved KZ Okpala out the starting lineup.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Another quick shout out would
Okay.
be in 2021. If the Kings would have lost one more game, they would have won. They wouldn't have had to do a coin flip in the 2021 draft with Chicago. Instead, they would have just straight up had the pick, and they could have taken Franz Wagner instead of Davion Mitchell. I don't think that it is actually like the one among all of these,
It is
but
one.
you know, it's a little
It's on the list.
butterfly effect of
There
like,
you
hey,
go.
maybe the Beam team actually gets better.
Hey, real quick. I know we're over time, but quickly,
It's fine.
we're trying to figure out if the Beam team is a moment in time or if that is a new nickname for the Kings. Are the Kings the Beam team right now, or is that specific to the 2023 team?
It's both. Like, I feel like they're still referred to as the Beam team, but if you just say, like, you could call the Kings the Beam team, but if you just say the Beam team, like, it's all contextual, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
If you say it in the context of you're
And
talking
you like
about
that.
a team,
You like them still being called the Beam team?
I kind of honestly even thought that maybe they should retire the Beam after
Okay.
the first year.
The Be-
but-
no,
I
no,
dis-
you
you cannot do
no, no,
that.
no, I
You cannot
disagree
open that.
now.
No, no, no,
I
no,
disagree
no, no,
now.
no.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's right.
Gotta cut the mics.
Yes. Chris?
I don't still feel that way.
To me, it feels like an era. I feel like eventually the Beam will die, and it'll probably will
No.
eventually. Not we want it to, but
Never.
you know, 100 years from now, when whatever. I think, like Brendan said, I think we refer to the first Beam team as Beam team, but I do think since the Kings are the team that is involved with the Beam, they can still be labeled as the Beam
Do you
team.
know they lit the Beam last night?
They did.
Oh,
like
I
the Beam last night,
did
Yeah.
happen to
Yeah.
hear about that
Yeah.
from everyone.
Yeah, what do you know?
Chris Watkins, Brenden Nunes, follow them on social media. Follow Sactown Sports on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram. We are everyone. Go to SactownSports.com to see the great work that both of them are doing. And we will talk to you again next week, guys. All right. On the other side of Dan Favale predicts which offseason transactions will age the most poorly. And we rehash the free agent tracker. Allen Stiles, Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager,